Okay, the next is operators. Let's talk about operators, right? It's a very simple and basic topic that will be able to cover up like very easily and very fast. We all know about operators, different types of operators and everything. So add and subtract. You know what is add and subtract, like what add and subtract is used for. But there are some exceptions to it that I've written down in these notes. So the operator adds or subtracts the value of y from the value of x according to the following rules. If x or y integers or doubles, then adds and subtracts the value of y from x. And if x or y is double, then the result is double. That means if any one of them is double, then the result will be double. If both of them are integer, the result will be integer. That's it. Then x is a date and y is an integer. Then it returns a new date that is incremented or decremented by the specified number of days. We have already seen that, right? Added 5 days. X is a date time and y is an integer or double. Then it returns a new date which is incremented or decremented by a specified day, number of days with a fractional portion corresponding to a portion of the day. It returns a new date time. So basically, here is an example for this. Here I've got a double value 5.2, and here I've got the date time method datetime.now, and this datetime dot final date basically says d minus 1. So it will just like reduce the date by 1. That's it. That's all what it's going to do, but the time is going to be same. But what like when I'm gonna dt minus d, right? In this case, it will reduce 5 days from today's date, like that's gonna come from date time dot now, and it will reduce point 0.2 with from the time. So what is point 0.2 in time when it comes to time? So in 24 hours, how much is point 0.2 or 20%? 4.8 hours, right? So yeah, I mean you can just convert it into minutes. Okay, let's say. Let me just show it to you. 24 into 60. So these are the minutes that we have got, and like we have to reduce 20% of it. 0.20. So 288 minus 1440. So it's going to reduce the minutes by this, and whatever hours is going to come accordingly, it's going to take it like that. So that's what it is. If there are fractional portions in it, then it will work like that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, only in case of plus, if x is a string and y is a string or any other type of non-null argument, then it concatenates by to the end of the x. That basically means plus will act as a concatenation operator if any of the operands are string, right? Any of the operand is string. Then comes shorthand operator. Shorthand operator, like there is like I mean, I think we all know about shorthand operators, right? Plus equals to, what it is used for. Plus equals to. So if I write down a plus equals to 5, that means a equals to a plus 5. If I write down a multiply equals to 6, then a into 6. That's what a shorthand operator looks like. This is how it actually. Similarly, so like I haven't mentioned all of the shorthand operators, but there are some shorthand operators over here which you might not find in any other language, which is or assignment. So if you'll write, and this works for Boolean, right? So if a is equals to true, and if I'll write down a or equals to 5 is greater than 6, then what will be stored in a? So it is like a or bracket 5 is greater than 6. So what is the value of a? And what is the value which will come out of this? So if you do or between both of them, true, right? True or false is basically true. Any one of them is true, then it's true. Increase last bracket. So that's basically what it is. And a is equals to a or 5 is greater than 6. And I mean, if it would have been like this, a and equals to 5 greater than 6, then a is equals to a and 5 greater than 6, then this is false and this is true, and operation between both of them results in false. That's it. I hope that makes sense, everyone. Then comes equality operator, double equals to. Yeah, this one's good. If a value of x equals y, the expression evaluates to true, otherwise the expression evaluates to false. Simple. What will be the result? right? So that's what it is. So it just compares the value. What about string? You sure? In Java, it works like this. So, so we have to use a dot equals function over there. We do not have to use it in here. Double equals to is sufficient to compare the values. So let me explain it to you if you do not know. In Java, when it is about string, it does not compares the value. It does not perform a deep check. It performs a shallow check. Shallow check basically not, because over there it's a class, right? And if you want to perform the deep check, then you have to use dot equals method. But in here, this double equals to operator performs the deep check, which means it checks the values, right? That's all what it does. And if the value is like same, then it will return a true value. If the value is not same, then it will return a false value. That's what it is. Unlike Java, in ID comparison. So ID, you can also compare two IDs with double equals to. There's no problem with that. And then there comes user-defined types are compared by reference, which means that the two objects are equal if they reference the same location. So what is the user-defined type? Let's say you've created first class FC object, and it points to this object, new first class, and then parenthesis open and parenthesis close. Let me just use Visual Studio for that. So we have written down first class FC is equals to new first class, and I mean, yeah, then in this case FC2 double equals to FC will return you a true value, right? But if there is a new object that you have created, then in that case it will be false. So if both the reference variables refer to a same memory location, then in that case it will be considered as true, or otherwise it will be considered as false. That's what it is. Next, you can override this default comparison by behavior by equals and hash code method. It was the same with Java as well. In Java, there are two methods, equals and hash code in object class that you have to override in order to, override the functionality of equals method or double equals to operator. But not double equals to operator, but in Java it was equals method, and here it is the like double equals to operator. So if you want to do that, you can do that over here as well. But we're not going to go deep that deep over here. Okay, then next, integer. There are two integer arrays or two integer lists. You can see this, right? And what I've done over here is I've added 1 to 5 into a, like I plus 1, so starts from 0. So in a I'm going to have a is a reference variable which has got a list, and in that list will have elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. That's it, right? And when I'm going to do system.debug a, it's going to like give all these values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when I'm going to debug b, it's going to give no values to me because there are no values in b. And when I'm going to compare both of them, what will be the output? False. Why? List. So that's also one of the reasons. But in Apex, double equals to performs a deep check. It compares each and every value. Even if b had this, like b had 1, 2, 3, and 4, then also if we would have compared it, it would have said false. Only if all the values are according, have the same sequence and the values are also same in two lists, then only it will return a true value when we'll check it with the help of double equals to operator. I hope it is clear. Deep check basically means comparison of values rather than references, right? So when you talk about this, Over here, A is referencing this list and B is referencing this list. So if we'll compare both of the lists, if there is a reference a check that is happening, that's a shallow check. And deep check basically means comparing each value like that, individually with another value. And it's all about the perspective. If you talk about a deep check in array, it's checking each value. When you talk about deep check in string, it's each character. I hope it is clear. Right? Then the comparison of any two values can never result in null, though x and y can literally be null. So if you're comparing two values, and even if both of them are null, the output will never be null. Right? It will either be false or either be true. Then comes SOQL and SOSL use equals to for their equality, not double equals to. So in SOQL, or basically the queries that we'll write down later, equals to is used for comparison, not double equals to. And why? Because there is no assignment that happens inside the query. So that's the reason equals to operator is sufficient to compare the values. We do not, and whereas in Apex program, equals to operator is basically used to do the assignment instead of the comparison. That's what it is. Next, exact equality operator, triple equals to. What do you think it checks? That double equals to is also doing. So it will only check the memory location. If two reference variables are pointing to same memory location, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false, irrespective of the value. Obviously, if they both are pointing to the same location, there is same value, right? So that's what it is. So first class FC and FC2. So then this FC and FC2 is going to return false, right? Because the two are pointing to different objects, which are definitely onto the different locations. That's what it is. Exact inequality. I've just added exclamation before two equals to, and I mean it is just opposite. If they both are not referencing to the same location, then it is true, and if both are referencing to the same location, then it is false. It's just a negation of triple equals to, right? And similarly, we have got not equals to over here as well with double equals to. Like instead of writing double equals to, we can write this as well as not equals to. Then comes relational operators. So relational operators are greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to. Didn't get triple equals to. So let's talk about how the Java double equals to is different from Apex double equals to. So in Java double equals to, what happens is, I mean, yeah, there is no deep comparison that happens. Only the reference comparison that happens. So like only the references gets compared when you use double equals to in Java. But when you use double equals to in Apex, the values also gets compared. That's one thing. Let's answer the next question. Didn't get triple equals to. Uh, so there is this reference variable which points to a particular object, and then there is another reference variable which points to another object, and then there is a reference variable which also points to this particular object, and its name is f1 and f2, and then there is f3. So if you're going to write down f1 equals to f2, or let's say triple equals to, right, f3, it's going to result false because they both are pointing to different memory locations. This one is pointing over here and this one is pointing over here. But if you write down f1 triple equals to f2, then it will return true value. True. And this will return false. That's what it is. Hope you got the answer of that, Disha. So it is for comparing memory locations. Yes, no doubt. Okay, perfect. Relational operators. So if x and y are equals null and are integers doubles did, then it will return a false. So if any of the value between x and y is null and you're trying to compare it with any other value, it will always return false. So if you're trying to compare 5 is greater than null, false. 5 is less than null, That's also false because you cannot compare any value with null. So it will always return into false. So I'm not explaining you how relational operators work. You already know that. You're smart enough. What I'm explaining is the anomalies or the exceptions that are there in Apex, right? A non-null string or ID value is always greater than a null value. A non-null ID value is always greater than a null value. That basically means uh, if it is an ID value and if you're comparing it with a null value, then in that case, it will always be greater than the null value. So if you're trying to compare, let's say, there is ID, I is equals to some ID inside it. And if you're trying to compare I is greater than null, then in that case, it will be true, right? And over here, integers doubles date and date times. With this, it will always be false, no matter what the value is. With IDs and strings, it will any value will be greater than null. That's what it is. If x and y's are IDs, then they must reference the same value, otherwise a runtime error occurs. What it means by same value, let me tell you. If you're trying to compare two IDs, right, ID1 and then there is ID2, right? If you're trying to compare these two values and what it says, IDs, then they must reference the same value, otherwise the runtime error. So both of these IDs should be of the same object. You cannot compare IDs of two different objects, right? And whichever is greater when it comes to the alphabets that are coming into that particular ID is going to be considered as greater, and the other one is going to be considered as less. That's what it is. Next, if x and y is an ID and another value is a string, then the string is validated and treated as an ID. So that means that string implicitly gets converted into an ID. And if it is not a legitimate ID, then there is a runtime error. And if it is a legitimate ID, then it gets compared with another ID. That's what it is. X and Y cannot be Boolean. So you cannot compare true is greater than false or false is greater than true. What is the sense of this? Right? It can never ever be a Boolean value that you can compare with relational operators. Then comes operator precedence, right? Let's talk about what exactly operator precedence is. Like we all know about it. Bodmer's rule, we studied in maths. Right? It's similar to that in programming languages as well. So number one thing that will be resolved is in here is are brackets and the increment and the decrement operators. Then after that, the negation operators or the negative operator. So like minus x is basically going to convert whatever value is there into negative. I mean, if in x there is 5, then it will become minus 5. That's what I'm talking about. And then multiply and divide, then plus and minus, then greater than less than relational operators, instance of operator, and then double equals to and not equals to, and then or, and then these, what do we call this, shorthand operators. So this is the operator precedence that we have got when it comes to Apex. Is it clear, everyone? I think I've got a class as well for operator precedence, which acts as a code. No, I don't think so. No, that's what it is.